Alright!
Hello gentlemen, and ladies, since the comment section made it very clear last time. No, I welcome the women as well. But welcome back to another Fallout Season 2 rant video. Before we start, I'd like to mention that this video is part of my subjective reaction style series about Season 2 of the Fallout show, not an objective critique from a lore perspective. I plan to make that eventually for Season 2, as I did with Season 1. If you're a new or returning viewer, consider subscribing to the channel, as it really helps a lot. And over 80% of you guys come back consistently, but are still not subscribed. It's just one click, and we are 300 subs from the 1,000 subscribers mark. I'm also thinking about doing a 10 random subscriber shout out every 100 subs, so let me know if that's something you'd want. Alright, enough preamble. Episodes 7 and 8. We open in a flashback to pre-war Canada with Steph and her mother running from American troops during the annexation of Canada. We then see an American in power armor get suicide bombed randomly in the middle of the forest around no one else. I guess he was out for a scenic jog and thought, you know what would make this hike better? Her mom gets injured by the explosion and bleeds out and dies, and her dying words are, I know I raised you Catholic, but forget about all of that. And it also says, don't treat them like humans.
Think of them as Americans.
Yet I still get people telling me that this show is not woke, anti-American, anti-Western slop. Not to mention how stupid it is to have a woman who supposedly grew up Catholic, raised her kids Catholic, to suddenly turn her back on it. Ah yes, on her deathbed, she abandons eternal salvation in under 12 seconds. Any percent speedrun. But Steph crosses the border into America by killing the one guy guarding the checkpoint while an active war with Canada is going on. We then go back to the present at the super secret facility and see that Lucy has let Hank free, and she is seemingly being convinced by him that he's right about removing people's memories and making them into slaves. Lucy doesn't know what a golf cart is, despite being a teacher in the vault who knows about ancient Rome and Latin. But yeah, no, she knows Latin, but not carts with wheels. Switching back to the ghoul and Maximus, we see them walking together, and the ghoul sees Maximus holding cold fusion without even turning around because Maximus is just holding it while walking instead of stowing it in his pocket. After some walking, they stumble across an old NCR armory with NCR power armor that is designed around the veteran ranger armor. Now I could sit here all day and pick apart why this piece of tech does not make sense in universe, but I'll save that for my lore breakdown of Season 2. And for now, only say, the NCR did not have functional power armor, and the one Sierra power armor that they did have working was 100% added because someone on the development team overlooked that the NCR could not use power armor as the game was rushed out in 18 months. Oh, and there's also a Fallout 4 version of the Gauss rifle in the stash because continuity is optional. Back to the past, and Steph meets with Howard somehow and asks him how to get into a vault, and she gets with Hank, romantically. Howard talks to the wholesome Chungus politician about giving her cold fusion, and she says they want to be the only ones left, in reference to the evil capitalists. As if that makes any sense, and she directs him to give cold fusion to the president, and Howard agrees. The ghoul mentions the courier in the scene where he shows the new power armor, and Fallout 4 music plays.
In all my years, I've only ever seen one man come out on top in Vegas. He rigged the game.
They also did this in Season 1, when they showed the NCR flag. Why do they keep playing Fallout 4 music over stuff from the classic games? We switch to Norm for 5 seconds as he wakes up and he gets smacked unconscious again. Back to the vault, and Chet tries to confront Steph about her forcing him to marry her, and she shuts him down with her girl boss energy, and Chud? That's funny. And Chet finds the fat black guy's glasses. I really hope she only put the glasses in the garbage disposal, because if this is to imply that she disposed of his body with it, that would be so retarded. Chet, for some reason, finishes the job and shreds the glasses, which is the only evidence he has about the murder. Nothing like the destroy your own leverage strategy, right guys? In Vault 31, water is still being depleted, so the Overseer gets the box Steph wanted to exchange it for water. Switching to Freeside, and Maximus is in the power armor with the gang, pulling up on Freeside, and apparently the people of Freeside are excited to see the NCR, according to the Ghoul, and they yell, "Long live the New California Republic," except in the game, Freeside citizens hated the NCR. They clashed with the NCR immigrants, and the NCR soldiers clashed with the Freeside residents and the Kinks. Thaddeus' arm falls off, showing that he's not a ghoul and is probably a snallygaster or a centaur. Yes, I know it wouldn't make any sense for him to be a centaur, since that's a hybrid between a human and other animals mixed together in the FEV, but your mistake is thinking that the showrunners would know that, so it's still a valid guess in my books. Back to Lucy, and she's eating with Hank, and after seeing the NCR ranger that was nice to her prior being clueless of his past life, she snaps and turns on Hank again and handcuffs him to the oven. Hank literally says the Legion meme about how the NCR is bad because the taxes.
The New California Republic. It's just like the Legion. They all have their problems, Lucy. High taxes.
Every faction has taxes in its own way, like the Legion having tributes and the Brotherhood extorting farmers for food and resources, at least in Fallout 4. The alternative to this is lobotomizing everyone into slaves. But sure, let's debate fiscal policy. Lucy responds with the most Reddit response of all time.
One side is murdering people, enslaving them, crucifying them, and the other side is just vaguely problematic.
Back to Chet, and he's getting married to Steph, and he refuses and blows the lid on Steph killing the fat black guy and shows everyone that she's Canadian, and she gets cornered in her office. They start yelling death to management, but obviously this is what happened in Vault 32 before the pilot of Season 1. Switching to Maximus and the Ghoul on the strip, and Maximus starts boxing the Deathclaws with his power armor that has blades on the arms, while the Ghoul heads towards the Lucky 38. Maximus gets stuck in a car, and the Deathclaw just stops attacking him and slowly walks to the Ghoul, to which Maximus warps to the Ghoul like Hank in the last video to save the Ghoul. The Ghoul goes up the Lucky 38 and it's deserted. We then flash back to the past, and Hank hands over Cold Fusion to the President, and as mentioned in my last video, he is in cahoots with the Enclave, which is how they have Cold Fusion at the start. We then have a sequence of switching to the Ghoul and to Lucy back and forth as the Ghoul opens the device that House used for Cold Fusion, and Lucy goes into the secret place to stop the mind chip's operation from continuing. We then see that the politician woman's head / personality is the blueprint for the people who get their minds wiped, and her head is in a jar on a table. Turns out the blueprint for mind wiped obedience is a politician. Very subtle. The episode ends with the Ghoul putting Cold Fusion into the device in the Lucky 38, and House pops up on the monitor. Either he never died or he had cloud backup active, I guess. And that's episode 7. I genuinely don't know what to say at this point. The lore is all over the place. The NCR has a brand new power armor model despite not even knowing how to use power armor, and Freeside is now the NCR #1 fan club. Every new episode feels like it was just made up on the spot, independent from the pre-established media and even prior episodes in the show itself. I'm not exaggerating when I say this is in serious contention for the worst episode of the season. The only reason it might not be, the season finale exists. This episode opens with the Legion fighting the other Legion, and Rome alone reads the note that Caesar left, and apparently Caesar wanted the Legion to die with him, And upon reading it, this man-child kills the soldier standing next to him, even though the soldier was just looking at the legate like he was waiting for him to say what they do now. He then eats the note and then tells the rest of the Legion that they are marching for New Vegas and crowns himself Kaiser. We then go to the Lucky 38 to pick back up on the Ghouls plotline, and he talks to this new House on the screen. House makes a joke about how people kill him in all different types of ways as homage to the community's pastime of killing Mr. House with all kinds of different weapons, but this makes absolutely no sense for obvious reasons. If he was bludgeoned with a golf club, he wouldn't be alive to be killed in the other ways. This isn't New Game Plus. House gives the ghoul a Pip-Boy with his face on it so he can talk to the ghoul while he's doing what House wants him to do. We then switch to Maximus, and I think I forgot to mention this in the last episode, but he was thrown into a gate which broke it open, so the Deathclaws are free into Freeside, because I guess they can throw a 2-ton suit of power armor, but not knock down a scrap gate. And then they politely walk into Freeside so the civilians can clear out the scene. It also turns out Maximus has rockets on the back of his suit, like those little rocket backpacks from Fat Cry 6. Because why not? Rule of cool over everything. We then see Lucy approaching the head on the table, and she asks Lucy to kill her, and Lucy has a breakdown about everyone asking me to kill them, which, when did that ever happen in the show up to this point? But anyway, she almost cries over this random pre-war relic, in contrast to season 1 when the Enclave doctor that was kind to her and that she actually knew dies, and she acts callously like she didn't even care that he died. The retard crew is carrying Norm away to kill him, but they accidentally open the Rad Roach farm elevator and get no-diffed by a bunch of roaches. Also, they for some reason can just fly now like bloat flies.
Oh, they fly now! They fly now! They fly now!
They block Norm from entering the safe room, and Norm hides under a desk, and every Rad Roach passes him up in favor of getting into the room, and for some reason, the door closes once all of the roaches are in the room, and they can't open the door back up, even though they're inside. Back to the strip, and Maximus is having his slow dance brawl with the Deathclaws, and they gnaw on his head and swing him around like a doll. So the showrunners just forgot how the first dude in power armor died when lightly hitting his head and getting swung around by a Yaoguai. I guess Yaoguais are canonically stronger than Deathclaws now. Or power armor durability just scales with the protagonist status. The Freeside residents bet on Maximus dying, despite the fact that if he does die, all of Freeside will die with him. Down in the super secret facility, the ghoul has entered the premises, and Hank got free and is lecturing Lucy and explaining that the Congresswoman head was the personality he scanned to make the basis of his slave race. We then see a flashback where it's shown that Steph and Hank were husband and wife pre-war, and Howard gets a phone call on a phone booth. Back to Maximus, and Thaddeus snipes the Deathclaw that is attacking Maximus, and after the Deathclaw gets shot, Maximus turns around to give a thumbs up instead of pressing his advantage and starts getting destroyed. Howard then plans to erase Lucy's mind and make her his daughter again, but in the nick of time the ghoul shows up to save her and spares Hank, and lets Lucy decide his fate. She hypocritically puts the mind-wiping device into his neck and walks him out. So she thinks the whole operation Hank is running is wrong, and when Hank tells her she's going to become his sweet little girl again, she says, "You're insane." But now she's going to turn around and do the exact same thing to him? Back to Maximus, and his armor is in 1,000 times worse wear than Titus's was in Season 1. But he gets out of it practically unscathed and picks up a makeshift Spartan kit, and for some reason the old black guy, upon seeing the person in the power armor as a YN, wants to jump in to help. While sad music plays and Maximus is about to do his final stand, Thaddeus snipes the Deathclaw running at him. But actually, it was an NCR Ranger, and they recreate the opening shot from Fallout New Vegas while playing Fallout 4 music. Guys, look, it's from the game. The battalion from out east mentioned prior shows up in New Vegas for God knows what reason. Oh wait, because people were rightfully mad about the NCR being destroyed, so they had to retcon their own retcon again. I'll have to make a counter of how many retcons are in this season, specifically regarding Season 1, in my video on the lore breaks in Season 2, because it has to be at least 10 at this point. Lucy walks Hank out onto the strip, which has been conveniently cleared of Deathclaws by Maximus, and Hank somehow read the script and knows the Legion is marching to New Vegas. Lucy tells him to tell her what he was doing, and then says exactly what Hank said to her.
I need you to tell me what you were really doing here.
And then?
That I'm gonna turn you into the father I thought you were.
Hank then says that the outside world was an experiment and not the vaults. What? He reveals that he has a remote of his own and decides to erase his memory before Lucy can find out the grand scheme. Peak villain strategy: uninstall yourself. After a short scene which is intended to be emotional, she leaves her brain-dead dad in the middle of the wasteland so she can go meet up with her black boyfriend. Back to Steph, and it's revealed that the box contained an Enclave Pip-Boy. What the hell? Why does the show pretend Pip-Boys are like walkie-talkies for factions? Besides, why would some Canadian woman be in cahoots with the ultra-nationalistic American supremacist faction? Do the showrunners even think before making these plotlines? She's supposedly high up too, as she tells them to initiate Phase 2. And it's revealed that Hank was actually talking to the Enclave earlier in the season and not Mr. House as a red herring. So he's a part of the Enclave as well. Back to Norm, and conveniently, everyone in the room died to the rad roaches, but they also killed all of the rad roaches too. Oh, and the cherry on top, for plot convenience, the love interest to Norm was the only survivor. We see a flashback of the phone booth, and Mr. House was the one calling Howard, because as shown before, he is omnipotent, and he tells Howard he was not the one involved in what's about to happen, and commends him for wanting to be the hero. And then Howard is seized by the Enclave and arrested. We then see the ghoul go to his family's cryopods, and they're empty. But there's a note that says they're in Colorado, and the ghoul assumes this means they're alive. Brother, the note could be older than the NCR. Why would this be confirmation that they are still alive to the ghoul? The episode ends with us getting a sneak peek into what is to come, and the Legion has raised an army 10 times bigger than the army we saw at their fort. So, where did they come from? And it's clear in the next season we will see a battle between the NCR and the Legion. And judging by the numbers, the NCR will be crushed, as it's a bigger ratio than 5-1. I'm sure they'll artificially add numbers to the NCR to give them more of a chance of winning. And also, the ghoul in the next shot is in the middle of nowhere, so I guess he teleported out of the strip using his fast traveling powers again. And that's the finale for Season 2. Literally nothing happened in this season. Even the conflict that was building between the Legion and the NCR, they blew balls with. Howard did not find his family, and is not really any closer to doing so. Hank mind-wiped himself before Lucy could figure anything out, and Maximus is just there. Somehow they top Season 1 in terms of being dog shit. It's just retcon on top of retcon, accompanied by poor storytelling and member berries while playing Fallout 4 music behind everything. These both were definitely my least favorite episodes, but if I had to pick, I'd probably say the finale is the worst. But what do you guys think? Was the finale the worst for you too, or did you dislike episode 7 more, or another episode entirely? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing because it helps out a lot. If you want to see more of the series, check out the channel to see the 3 other parts or the playlist that has the whole series. I also have memberships for $1 a month, so if you want to become a member, then do so. I'm just glad you watched this video, and remember, don't you dare go hollow.